What up, world? Um, if you've seen my review for the Best Man Holiday, you know about the setup. I might alter it and try different angles until I find some shit that I like. And you also know why all this damn space is over here. Cause I'm trying to figure out how to insert pictures into the shot with me, and if I do it in this video, then I'm gonna sound like a jackass. But y'all know what this is, man. This is my very first official movie talk video, and it sucks that it had to be under these circumstances, but I felt because of the tragedy that happened that I should do my first one on Paul Walker. Um, I mean, everybody knows him for the Fast and the Furious movies. Um, but nobody knows like my ass. Nobody knows like that he was, you know, saying, on some humanitarian shit, trying to give back. Didn't give a damn about celebrity, um, and just like who he was as a dude. You know what I'm saying? As a human. So like I'm gonna talk about the movies that he was in that I've seen, and a little bit of other shit. So I mean, just let's begin. The first movie I saw, like Paul Walker oldest movie that I had seen was Pleasantville. Um and like I don't really remember too much of him in it, man. I remember Tobey Maguire and I remember Reese Witherspoon got like sucked into like a Leave It to Beaver type TV show. Like it was all black and white, and the way that they started like changing the culture of the show, every like things started like popping up in color. And Joan Allen was in it, Jeff Daniels was in it, but Paul Walker was like the big man in high school, and Reese Witherspoon was low key like a whore or some shit, and she was trying to like smash Paul Walker and like go to make out point or some shit, and fucking, I mean, throw the word virgin away from this whole environment. I mean, what I remember, yeah, like Paul Walker like played a good role in it, and you know what I'm saying, like did a good acting job. Um, I mean, but other than that, like I don't remember too much about his character. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a good movie. I like the movie. In 1999, he was in Varsity Blues with John Voight, James Van Der Beek. Who else was in the movie? Ali Larter. Everybody remembers Ali Larter from that movie. Once again, Paul Walker was big man on campus. He was the starting quarterback for the high school football team. He injured his knee. James Van Der Beek had to go in there and carry the team. But I mean, like it was because of Dawson's Creek. It was a Van Der Beek vehicle. But hypothetically, had Paul Walker not gotten hurt, I mean, they could have went to state, done it big, and everything else, man. Like this is another movie. Like I didn't watch Paul Walker movies in preparation for this video, man. I just wanted to talk about the dude, and you know what I'm saying, like just speak on the situation and shit. Varsity Blues is a good movie. Paul Walker was not a bad actor. He was just never in like Oscar caliber movies and shit, except for like Flags of Our Fathers, which I didn't even know he was in until last weekend. Fuck me, I sound like a mad dickhead for that shit, but I'm sorry. 2001, man. 2001 was like Paul Walker's year, because first he was in the Fast and the Furious, the original. Like I know it's a way older movie called The Fast and the Furious, but as far as like the Paul Walker Vin Diesel series, the first one was in 2001. He played Brian O'Connor. He was an undercover cop, and he went undercover suspecting that Vin Diesel character, Dominic Toretto, and his clique basically were like robbing like semi trucks or some shit like that. And I mean, like that's a good ass movie. Like I like the whole Fast and Furious series. You know what I'm saying? I'll get into some of that a little later on. But the first one is when you knew that like that Paul Walker like could act and shit, and because um, he had the quips like when he fought that, what's the dude's name, Vince or whatever, and like he's at Jordana Brewster's little food shack, and dude's fucking with him, and they scrap in the parking lot, and he just pops at him like he knows I can box when they're about to race and shit. Like that shit was funny, and then the interaction in that race with him and Ja Rule, that shit like that was good. The chemistry that he had with Vin Diesel, like it was like the Fast and the Furious was probably one of the more enjoyable movies of 2001. And later in that same year, he was in Joyride. Joyride is one of his by far most underrated movies he ever did. Um, it was him and Steve Zahn and Lily Sobieski, and they had a CB. And they were on a road trip, like away from college or some shit, and they started fucking with this semi driver, and then like it turned into a crazy ass movie. Like I love Joyride. Joyride is fucking crazy. If you haven't seen Joyride, man, go check that shit out. 2003 was Too Fast, Too Furious. I don't know why, but Vin Diesel didn't do it. So it was John Singleton directed, and Tyrese was like his new partner. And once again, like he had good ass chemistry with Tyrese. It was like Brian O'Connor, like, you know what I'm saying, because of what happened in the first movie, he went to Miami. He was like a fugitive or whatever, and him and Tyrese had to like go undercover basically to get their records clean. And Eva Mendes was in that shit. And I remember me and my homeboy went and seen this shit in the theater. And like the first race, like Ludacris, he calls Brian. He's like, hey, yo, we got a race. We need one more. Can you get in? Blah blah blah. And like he got over there and he was like big dog. You know what I'm saying? He was like the man when it came to street racing in the area. And they upped the ante because I remember like one of the cars went over a bridge and then Brian O'Connor car like jumped over that shit. And that was cool as fuck. So like once again, like Cole Hauser was the villain. Just another just enjoyable movie that he did, man. 2005, he made Into the Blue with Jessica Alba. I think Josh Brolin is in that motherfucker. It's probably one of his weaker movies, but I mean it's still cool. Like I don't remember exactly what it's about. Like they go into the ocean and like they're hunting for like treasure or some shit. Every dude in 2005 saw this movie specifically for Jessica Alba. I think it even spawned like a lame ass sequel that nobody from the first movie was in. In 2006 is when he come out with his best movie, Running Scared. Just Running Scared is dope as hell. He's like a mob enforcer. He rolls with, you know what I'm saying, some gangsters. And there's a gun that killed somebody that he is supposed to get rid of, but a kid like gets the gun and shoots like his stepdad with that shit, and he like has to retrieve the gun. And Vera Farmiga, I don't know how to pronounce her name, and she's his girl, and like his whole life just spirals out of control within the time of this movie. And I mean it's like the chicks love Paul Walker, so like he catches like the Justin Timberlake rap that like he's too pretty to be like a gangster or whatever. But I mean he pulled this shit off. He showed off how intense he could be in certain roles and shit. We come to 2009, and that's when Fast and Furious came out, aka Fast 4, aka the return of Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. In my opinion, man, this is the most underrated Fast and Furious movie with Paul Walker and Vin Diesel in it, with them both in it, because it was the comeback, man. It was I don't know how, but Brian O'Connor had a job with like the FBI or some shit. The dude Steve Buscemi's brother from Boardwalk Empire was one of his fellow cops, and Michelle Rodriguez's character passed away, and he was at the funeral like trying to wait for Vin Diesel, and like Vin Diesel was hip to him. It was like their character's first interaction since the first movie, and just 'cause the villain was kind of weak, and that's like kind of why like motherfuckers sleep on this movie. But I mean, it was cold to me. I remember I took my little brother to see that shit, and I thought it was dope. In 2010, man, he made the movie Takers. I think it's produced by T.I. He's in it. Hayden Christensen is in it. Idris Elba, I think, is in it. Zoe Saldana is in this movie, and Michael Ealy, Chris Brown. Like, it's got a big ass cast, and I know it's a good movie. Off the top of my head, I don't completely remember. I know like Paul Walker was like the leader of the clique. I think they're like jewel thieves or some shit. They're in some kind of, you know what I'm saying, shady shit, some type of crime, and Ti took a L and went to jail for his crew, and like they don't really trust him when they get out, and he sets them up on a job. Like, it's another good movie. Like, it's a good like popcorn movie. You know what I'm saying? And the type of it just showed like the type of movies that Paul Walker is in. Like, he just has fun, and you know what I'm saying, just makes, you know what I'm saying, movies that he thinks that his fans are gonna like. 2011, Fast Five. They brought The Rock in, and it turned the franchise into like a heist series. And like, I said it in my Fast and Furious 6 review, I enjoy every single Fast and Furious movie for what it is. So like Fast Five like brought The Rock in. He was chasing down Paul Walker and Vin Diesel, and they brought everybody back, man. They brought Han from Tokyo Drift, Ludacris and Tyrese. The chick who just got cast as Wonder Woman, she was she was with the bad guy from Fast Four, but now she was part of the crew. By this time in their careers, like Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, like they were these characters. So like it was just a really fun movie, man. It still had cars in it. It's, you know what I'm saying, they was still racing, but it was just like the sequences when they was like taking the vault out and shit like that. It's just what made this movie fun and dope as fuck, man. And then 2013, this year, Paul Walker did Fast and Furious 6, and I only saw it in the theater, so like I remember liking it. I remember it was still another fun, just action movie. The Rock recruited Vin Diesel and Paul Walker and their crew, and by this time, Jordana Brewster and Paul Walker, they had a kid, and I mean, and they still like they had to do this for The Rock and get all their records clear and all their criminal records and shit like that. So what they did in Fast Five just was nixed. And I remember the flight line in this movie being long as fuck. But yeah, it was just another good ass movie, man. And it actually, at the time I'm recording this, Fast and Furious 6 comes on Blu-ray and DVD this Tuesday, man. And Universal announced that a portion of basically the revenue that they get for this movie, they're gonna donate to Paul Walker's charity. You know what I'm saying? So I hope everybody watching this video goes out and picks up Fast and Furious 6, man. And I heard via like Wikipedia or some shit, so it's not that reliable, but I had heard that they were gonna reboot the Hitman series, the video game that Timothy Olyphant did, and they were gonna reboot that shit, and Paul Walker was gonna be Agent 47, and man, that shit would have been so cold blooded. Paul Walker in his own action series, like I would have been curious for that, man. Yeah, like this dude, like from what I read, I don't know what's true, so that, like, you know what I'm saying, don't quote me. Like, he was at a charity event to raise money for typhoon relief over in, man, I'm drawing a blank right now, so I don't know exactly where the typhoon hit. So that's my bad. But Paul Walker was trying to raise money to help him out, and he was in like a Porsche, and his boy was driving, and I don't know if speed was involved, or like I heard that like there was some kind of leak in the vehicle, man. Man, it was just tragic, man. They just lost control of the car. They ran into a pole or a tree, and like the car exploded, and man, yeah, like this shit is fucking sad, man. Like, he had a daughter. He left his girl, his family. Like, I just heard that Vin Diesel like went to his mom's crib, and he like realized that he needed them more than they needed him or something. Like, everybody affected, man. Like this shit even had me like real like choked up and shit for a couple days, because like he was trying to do good, and all of a sudden like this shit just happened, man. And yeah, like he was a good dude. Like, not like into no like bullshit, like celebrity fucking tabloids and bullshit. He was real low key, made his movies and just chilled. And like as far as I know, like he was a Christian dude and like just it's a sad situation, man. Um, but yeah, like me and my girl, like our thoughts and prayers go out, man, to his loved ones, friends and family, and hopefully y'all can find the strength to get through this tough time. Um, but man, like that's all I got. Like it's this isn't really the circumstances that I had hoped to like do my movie talk on, but this is my first one. I'm open to suggestions who y'all would like to watch or hear me talk about. So drop a comment, man. Peace, man.